What's up, gamers? Welcome to another edition of GAMERant, where I will be bringing you a video response. This is going to be a video response to Rev3 Games / Adam Sessler. He did a video entitled, "Is Bigger Better? The Importance of Game Length?" It's part of a little segment that he does on Rev3 Games called Sessler Something. Now, basically, he's talking about the game length and, you know, how most gamers, in fact, most gamers in general, compare it to the price and the length. In fact, in the beginning of the video, he alliterates to the greater concept of saying that he doesn't really like the concept or the idea of comparing it based on its length and its price, because then you're comparing it as a product and not an art form, which he ultimately alliterates that he considers video games to be a form of art, which I agree with that. I'm not going to disagree with that. However, with that being said, I'm going to disagree with it on certain levels. Here's the reason why. I think that statement is more so true for your PS2, your GameCube, your Xbox, and any other system that came before those systems I just mentioned. But if you're going to say that for this generation of gaming on the PS3, the 360, well, quite frankly, Adam, you're smoking some really bad crack or something like that. I don't really know. Let me kind of just explain this really quick, all right? In this modern generation, you see it always comes back to this because it's a fundamental process, downloadable content. All right, downloadable content takes away from the game. All right, it takes away from the art. So therefore, when a good example would be White Knight Chronicles 2, it has approximately, I don't know, like anywhere from $120 to $150 of downloadable content, and then it has an extra $50, $60, give or take, plus or minus here and there, of extra stuff that really isn't downloadable content. It's just random stuff you can do, like change your name, do this one time, do this one time, that type of thing. So it has roughly about $200 worth of downloadable content or other extras that are not actually included in the game. This means that White Knight Chronicles 2 becomes a product. It became a product when they decided to make more money off of it. They took away from the overall experience of the art form, the overall concept and the idea of it, and in order for me to get the full experience of the game, I have to fork out more money. So therefore, this game, White Knight Chronicles 2, becomes a product. It is not an art. It became a product when, and just about like all game developers say, we are a business, we are here to make money. This also alliterates that they don't really care about their art that they create. Because if they did care about their art that they create, they would actually allow the artists, you know, the people that actually create the game, to have their full say and sway and whatever it may be within creating and developing that product. All right, as opposed to White Knight Chronicles 2 or even Mass Effect 3, which has approximately $40 of downloadable content, which also means that Mass Effect 3 is not art. It is a product. It became a product when they decided to have these random stuff, costumes and weapon packs and other stuff that you could add to it, taking away from the art form, taking away from the full experience of the game, and ultimately turning it into a product rather than an art form, all right? So that is how I disagree with Adam Sessler's idea that you cannot really compare the price and the game length. In this generation of gaming, you can totally do that because the majority of games created are not art. They are a product by definition. That is what they are. All right? I don't know too many artists, be it a sculptor or painter, that decides to lop off an arm and not being the intention of their art and be like, I will give you the arm for $1.99. I will paint the face on that character because he's supposed to have it. It's incomplete for $1.99 or $4.99, all right? You don't see them doing that. Why? Because they care about their product. They care about their art, all right? Yeah, I didn't mean to say product. I meant to say art. They care about their art, as opposed to a video game, which they care about their product. They don't care about their art, because if they cared about their art, they would allow the artists, graphic designers, the writers, programmers, to actually create art. All right, they're not going to have them create this random stuff that ultimately, even if they develop it after the game has been on store shelves, whether it's an alternate costume, a weapons pack or whatever, it still takes away from the experience of the game. Therefore, it no longer is art and it is a product. All right, now with that being said, let's talk about the concept of is bigger better. One thing that being a upcoming writer, I'm also a student working on my bachelor's degree for creative writing and entertainment. I can agree that, you know, that longer stories isn't necessarily better within the video game realm, but with that being said, at the same time, it also comes down to that factorization that one thing that we've all, at least I've been taught and that I've read in a variety of how-to books for writing, is that you should not, for example, if you're writing a manuscript for a novel, you should not worry about how many pages are going to be in your novel. You should not worry how many pages long each chapter is going to be, all right? Your chapter length or your book length or your word count for a chapter or the book should not really be the focus of your story. You simply write the story. If it ends up being 1,000 pages, it's 1,000 pages. If it ends up being 200 pages, it's 200 pages. You go until the story is done with whatever it is you're trying to convey for the story within itself. This is no different than a video game. Now, compared to this modern generation, like for example, Lollipop Chainsaw, which according to the internet, I've seen a variety of rumors. I mean, there's some bullshit rumor that it's like 4 hours of gameplay. I don't know what person is smoking crack on that one. But when the game originally came out, it was alliterated that it's 8 to 12 hours of gameplay for $60. To me, because in this generation of gaming and games are more of a product rather than an art form, I would say that's yes, that is honest, that the price does not fit the length of the actual game within itself, all right? So, yeah, now, again, he also talked and touched on the concept of, you know, like side missions and side quests and how, like, if he sees them in his little radar thing that he just has to go do them. That sounds more like a you problem and not necessarily a gamer problem, because there are some gamers out there that don't do side quests whatsoever. There are people that play RPG games, which are really well known for their side quests and side missions, and they don't even play them. Most people alliterate that they don't add to the story. Other people like side quests because it's more or less a break from the actual story that you can do within the game within itself. Now, I can ultimately agree that it probably would be a little excessive to be playing an FPS that, you know, has 40 plus hours of gameplay. However, with that being said, as long as the story fits that length and it makes sense, then it's okay. Another thing that a lot of people misconstrued not only when it comes to video games, television series as well. Many people think, for example, the easiest example would be a television series, is that a filler episode, they can only come in that form. But fillers come in many different forms. They could take the entire length of an episode. They could take half a length of an episode. They could even go anywhere from 30 seconds. Because for whatever reason, the writer had no clue what to do for those 30 or 45 seconds or a minute or whatever the case may be, so they just slapped this really retarded, useless stuff in there, all right? Anime is a very good example that has this kind of filler in it. If you Dragon Ball Z, you know, why does Goku need to really power up for, you know, more than 30 seconds? That's because it is filler. It is filler. It's a small amount of filler, but it's filler within itself. This kind of filler, these really small stuff, also exists within gaming today, all right? So it's more than likely that unless you're pretty good at catching it, you're probably not really going to know that it's actually filler and it's very small unless it's a lengthy filler, all right? However, I don't really think you can honestly say that side quests and side missions are filler because they are optional and they usually have really nothing to do with the story in general. Some filler, especially in television series, have something to do with either the characters or the story. Maybe not a direct impact, but they do have somewhat of a tangible connection, all right? side quests and side missions usually don't have that connection. They are just simply there to give the player a break from actually playing the actual main story within itself. So this is my thoughts and opinions on, you know, the length of the game. I personally think that in this modern generation of gaming, you can justifiable to judge the game based on its game length and its price, especially if that game has downloadable content attached to it, because then it's no longer art, it became a product. All right? So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you disagree with me, you can comment down there. You can also do a video response as well, all right? And I will see you next time on GAMERant.